I think it's about time I branched out with the kinds of SCP videos I do on this channel. I mean, I've really enjoyed doing the 4 SCPs as superheroes / villain episodes I've done on here, and there may be another one in the future, but there's so much more possibility for things I could do with SCPs, and I've gotten tons of suggestions for things too. A bunch of people have asked me to do either SCPs as Pokemon, or Pokemon as SCPs. Personally, I really like taking not creepy things and making them a lot creepier and weirder looking, so I decided to go with Pokemon as SCPs. Definitely open to switching that around at some point in the future or other SCP stuff, but I think this is a fun place to start. So let's see how this goes, shall we? Let's go. Hit like if you want, subscribe if you feel like, but either way, enjoy the show. Good evening, everyone. My name is Professor Oakland, and there are a number of SCPs we'll be discussing today, all with their own unique, anomalous, and frankly, frightening abilities. Lots to get through, so let's get started. First up is item number SCP-P063. Object class, Euclid, though debates continue whether to change its classification to safe. Special containment procedures. The creature is to be contained within a 10-foot cubed cell with standard surveillance. Any personnel who enter the cell are required to move very slowly. Prior to entry, they must also have gone through psychological evaluation to guarantee that they can keep their thoughts calm and non-threatening or fearful while in the cell with P063. Description: SCP-P063 is a humanoid creature of 4 feet at standing height, though it is very rarely seen to be in a standing position. P063 is almost constantly asleep in a slouched sitting position, and when left to its own devices is fairly harmless to those around it. The first reported sighting of the creature was in an undisclosed forest in Japan, by hikers who spotted what they believed to be an unconscious hiker in the distance. They approached to try and help, but when they were near, they realized it was not human. They described themselves as becoming very fearful of the creature and considered defending themselves should it awaken and attack. Immediately after they had these thoughts, the creature's eyes began to glow with a purple hue, and it vanished. Many reports that heavily resembled that encounter were later made in various parts of the world, and eventually SCP agents investigating put the reports together to discover that this was all the same creature. P063 is a telepathic and telekinetic creature who will teleport to safety anytime it senses threatening thoughts or intentions from any beings or creatures within a 30-foot range of its body. It has very rarely been seen to be hostile, save for the third occasion when SCP field agents tried to apprehend it. They kept calm enough to get close, but when they attempted to nudge the creature into a cage, it awakened, levitated off the ground, emitted red symbols over its head and chest, made multiple illusory clones of itself, and proceeded to assault the 4 field operatives in various ways. 2 were left dead, 1 in a coma and seems to be in a perpetual nightmare, and 4th, who recounted the story, had been struck by a purple psionic beam that threw him backwards and left him in a dramatically confused state for a little over 3 hours. The creature has since been properly apprehended and put into containment. It is believed that P063 could easily escape if it were to feel threatened in its containment, hence precautions being taken to ensure it feels safe. Since it has been in containment, there have been no incidences, and it has been suggested that the creature's classification be changed to safe, though some still believe it could pose a significant threat and is too unpredictable to have its classification altered. Time will tell, but for now, the creature seems to be content to sleep in its containment. The next item is one that some have argued is immoral for us to keep in containment, though most still consider it to be too anomalous of a creature to be allowed out in the wild. The pros of it being released do not outweigh the panic it could ensue in general populations to know that a creature like this is able to exist. Item number SCP-P359. Object class, Euclid. Special containment procedures. P359 is to be kept in a containment with reinforced titanium walls. Its cell is only to be entered once the creature has been dosed with heavy sleeping powder to keep it from attacking personnel. Description: P359 is a cat-like creature with a stature similar to that of a mountain lion. It has white fur and dark blue claws, face, and a blade on its tail, as well as a blue curved bone-like protrusion from its head, which seems to be its primary form of attack and the source of its other anomalous abilities. P359 has a precognitive disaster sense and is able to predict when a natural disaster is going to occur. It was discovered in Indonesia following many reports of a creature that seemed to be threatening locals. It would appear before people with its eyes lit up and viciously roar at them, though it had never reportedly attacked anyone. When further investigated, it was discovered that following each sighting, the very region it had been spotted in would soon after be subject to a natural disaster. It was initially thought that the creature was somehow spawning these disasters, but upon further research, it seems that P359 is unable to cause meteorological phenomena and that it was simply appearing before people as a warning of the pending disaster. It seems the creature may actually be trying to protect people. Despite a fairly threatening appearance, P359 is not inherently hostile, but has attacked Foundation personnel on multiple occasions. As is to be expected, it does not like being kept in containment. When it attacks, the protrusion from its head will often glow, and it can strike foes with incredible force, or even fire an anomalous concussive energy bolt. Researchers are still trying to discover if there are ways to harness the creature's disaster sense, but as of yet, efforts have been fruitless. The next item does not appear as threatening as our previous cases, but is likely the most brutal and menacing of the creatures discussed today. Item number SCP-P478. Object Class: Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. P478 is to be kept in a 10-foot by 10-foot containment cell that must consistently be kept at temperatures of no higher than 5 degrees Celsius. Only female personnel are permitted to enter P478's containment, and only when absolutely necessary. Description: P478 appears as a semi-humanoid female in a white garment that looks similar to a Japanese kimono. Her arms protrude from her head instead of her shoulders, and while her legs appear to be hidden by her dress, she actually has no lower limbs and moves by hovering over the ground. P478 was discovered in Nunavut, Canada, where the males of a since-redacted village had been going missing slowly over the course of a few years. The wife of one of the victims was interviewed by Foundation field agents, and she stated that her husband had vanished on the night of a terrible storm after there had been a knock at their door. She'd let her husband answer, but moments later she entered the room to see that the door was wide open and her husband was gone. Interestingly, all of the men that had disappeared over the years were fairly consistently referred to as the more handsome or conventionally attractive of males in the village. After months of searching the nearby mountains, a cave was finally discovered by field agents to find a disturbing scene. The den of SCP-P478 was filled with the frozen solid bodies of men from the village decorating the cave. When found, P478 was seen admiring her statues while absorbing blue glowing light from within them. Agents described it as if she were joyously sucking the souls right out of them. When agents tried to apprehend her, P478 attacked by breathing beams of ice that froze solid two of the agents before the others were able to apprehend the subject. She currently sits in a containment cell, appearing fairly content, though she has attempted escapes on multiple occasions, and those on her guard have been instructed to keep vigilant and stay warm. Our final subject is not as mysterious in its actions as our previous case, but this is a species that is blatantly the most physically powerful of the ones we'll discuss today, and has proven very difficult to contain due to its abilities. Item number SCP-P445. Object Class: Keter. Special Containment Procedures. P445-A, the only member of its species in our containment currently, is to be kept in a 35 by 16 foot containment cell with a sliding divider that can come down to temporarily split the room in half so personnel can enter to deliver sustenance. If the creature shows any signs of attacking the barriers or walls, personnel are to immediately vacate the room and reseal it to prevent breakout. If need be, guards watching from outside may seal the doors with agents inside if they deem it necessary to do so to prevent a breach. Description: P445-A is a 10-foot tall draconic creature with a head akin to that of a hammerhead shark. While it appears aquatic in nature, in truth, the creature's natural environment is high in mountain caves and, oddly enough, in the air. While its wings do not look nearly large enough to sustain flight, the creature is able to fly at nearly 800 miles per hour, faster than the speed of sound. It can go from 0 to 100 miles per hour in a fraction of a second, hence it being very difficult to contain. Along with its incredible speed, it is a viciously strong predator that will seemingly devour any living creature or being it comes across. Because of their incredible flight speeds, this species has been reported on multiple continents, devouring local birds, hikers, and on a few occasions, hang gliders. They have also been linked to multiple plane crashes, though these cases have not been definitively proven as caused by a member of the P445 species. It is unknown how many of P445 species are out in the wild, but our researchers' best guess is no more than 40. It's still a far higher number than we'd like, but with P445-A in containment, we are doing all we can to study the creature and discover how best to terminate other members of the species in the wild to keep their numbers low. One weakness we're currently looking into that may be exploitable is the fact that they are significantly slower at temperatures of below 0. They are fairly good at regulating their body temperatures, but this is something that may be useful for us in the future. Now those have been our 4 cases for today. Thank you for listening, everyone. If you have any inquiries, you can bring them to me now, but if not, have a good night. There we have SCPs, nope. There we have Pokemon as SCPs. Is this something people want another round of? Because I am definitely completely open to that. I really enjoyed this. I love how Abra and Garchomp turned out. I mean, I like how the whole episode turned out in general, but those two to me really look like they could actually kind of be SCPs. And I mean, there's lots of other stuff people have been asking me to do with SCPs, like turning them into dinosaurs with, of course, Champagne McGregor narrating. Turning them into dragons could be lots of fun. Lots of people have asked for that. But is there other stuff you'd want to see turned into SCPs? Let me know in the comments. And of course, if you're new to the channel and you really like SCP stuff, make sure to check out the aforementioned SCPs as Superheroes and Villains episodes. They're interconnected in a sort of weird way with some of my other videos as well, but if you watch them, you'll probably figure that out. But besides that, that's all for today. I'm Christian Pearson. This has been PopCross Studios, hanging out in the new version of the setup. I brought my, computer and tablet from my apartment, my parents' place, where I'm going to be working for a few months. Super excited to be here, and I'm really starting to fill out the space a little bit. But anyway, I've extended the outro and I don't remember where I was, but, hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.